So I had a gentleman come in. This was a little while ago, but he's over by. So I had a gentleman come in, and so he came in with his girlfriend. Seemed whatever. Nice guy. Blah blah blah. I don't know. Whatever. He was kind of a wannabe gangster kid. Right? Suburban white dude. Whatever. I don't know. Whatever. He comes in and he's like, yeah, I like the messy look. I like a nice tight fade. And I'm like, all right, cool, no problem, And he's like, oh, I have a hard time getting my hair cut. And I'm like, all right. I'm like, you're a regular barber? He's like, no. I'm like, have I cut your hair before? He's like, no. I'm like, are you sure? He's like, no, you've never cut my hair before. I've never been here. I go, yeah, but I worked someplace else. I said, you never went at the, no. I'm like, okay. He looks familiar though, you know what I mean? So I'm cutting his hair. And he's like, yeah, well, I like it more messy on the top. So I'm like kind of spiky and, kind of, he's like, yeah. I go, all right. So I do a nice tight fade. I line up the beard, perfect, everything, Fades dope, everything's dope. Do the top, I messy it up, style it up for him, checks it out. He's like, I mean, I really, he's like, what do you think, babe? And she's like, well, I like it, it's good length, blah, blah, blah. He's like, yeah, I know. He's like, well, I don't, it's too messy. I'm like, okay. Well, you said you like the messy look, so I figure. And he's like, yeah, but I like to messy it up. I go, okay. And so then he's pushing it to the side. So I go, all right. I said, you want to do it like that? He goes, yeah. And I go, well, I can make it so you can kind of do a little bit of both. He's like, all right, all right. And so I do it, and I trim it a little bit, and it's got a nice comb to a nice part. It's looking dope with the fade. And he's like, it's not short enough. And I'm like, it's pretty short, dude. I said, if you want to do the messy look, in the other way, it's probably kind of already there. And he's like, nah, it's, and his girlfriend's like, I don't know, I don't really like it. So she starts piping in because she liked it longer, right? And so I'm like, okay. So mind you, this is like, so this is like the second cut I'm doing now in the top. Oh, the third. So he's like, well, can you, oh no, that's right. So after I get it all combed over, and he's like, oh, can you do it shorter? So I cut it shorter. And then, so it's like nice, now it's getting spiky. And he's got like kind of, a weird hairline, not terrible, but he's got a prominent brow, and so it curves around his head, so it sticks out a little bit more, And he's like, oh, I don't like it like that. And he's like, oh, can you make it back to the messy look? I kid you fucking not, right? Can you bring it back to the first cut, right? And I'm like, nah, dude. I said I can't do anymore. I said I can't add any hair. I said I don't want to cut any more hair because it's starting to stick up. I'm like, I said everything looks perfect. I go, but he's like, yeah, well, I don't like the top. And I go, all right, man. And he's like, how much? He's like trying to get all hard with me, And I'm like, listen, little boy. But I'm like, nah, you're good, dude. You're good. And he's like, no, how much, man? It ain't like that. I go, oh no, it's exactly like that. I said, if you don't like it, I mean, mind you, now, first off, this motherfucker was 40 minutes late for his appointment, right? And I held it for him because, it was a little slow, and I'm like, whatever. And then, like, the haircut, the beard, and the fade took another, 35 minutes. And then doing the hair 3 times on the top. And mind you, shit looked tight. It looked good. Just wasn't exactly what he was looking for, right? Because he wanted me to cut it down and cut it down and cut it down. And then I looked at him and I was like, I remember you. I said, you came down to the other spot that I worked at, and you were the guy that was like, I never got a good haircut. I've never had a good haircut. I asked you if you have a regular barber. You said no. And then I asked you, why don't you get a good haircut? And you're like, I don't know. I tell them what to do, and then they just fuck it up. And then you change the haircut 2-3 times, Just saying. So I didn't charge him. He had a big fucking attitude, but I was like, nah, dude, I'm good. And that's the other stuff that I talk about that, customer service, he wasn't happy, I'm not going to charge him, right? I'll probably never see him again, but whatever, that's fine. But yeah, I'm not going to charge you. You don't like the cut. Hey, yeah, I get it. Everything else was tight. It was a little bit shorter than he wanted, I guess. And, it was perfect the first time, I thought. Second time, too. That's the other thing, when you come into a barber and they do your hair up, and they ask, oh, do you put stuff in your hair? When you say no or whatever, like that limits the kind of haircut that you can get. Like if you want like a hard part and then you have this stuff hanging down that's combed, and it's like that long, like if you don't put stuff in that, it's gonna fluff up and it's gonna look like garbage. Same thing with the top. If you like it slicked back or to the side and back, you're gonna put stuff in there, otherwise it's gonna fluff up. Most people's hair is gonna fluff up. Most people don't have the kind of hair that just stays in place. When you see Peaky Blinders, when you see what was that? Brad Pitt in Fury, right? Was that, yeah, Fury with the tank, with their hair back like that. People come in and like, oh, I want that cut. And I'm like, yeah, but you don't have the right kind of hair. You don't have the right kind of head. People don't get that. And they're like, oh, I just want it. So then I do it. And then they're like, oh, I don't like it. And then they get mad at me. You know what I mean? And I'm like, dude, I'm trying to give you the best cut that I can. And if I think that the cut will be better with product in it, I'm going to tell you that, and I'm going to show you how to do it. Ask your barber, like, how do you put the product in? Can you put product in my hair? Can you show it to me? Even if you're going to go home and take a shower right after, just ask us. We'll be freaking more than happy to style your hair for you, show you how to do it, you know, and then boom, you know, you're out, you do your thing, you know. I mean, I don't sell product here, you know, because a lot of the stuff that's kind of high end, you got to sell it for a lot of money, you know what I mean? And I don't want to price gouge people and stuff. I send them to the Walmarts and Targets and all that stuff. Unfortunately, you know, I'd like to do an independent thing, but you know, it's just the money's not there, you know, and I don't want to overcharge people, you know. But yeah, so just keep that in mind, you know, when you come in to get a cut. Like, trust your barber a little, you know, and give them more than 1 or 2 times, you know. Sometimes and talk to them. Be like, hey, I didn't like this part of it, you know, if you could do this. And you know, I'm sure that I got people that I may have cut too short more than once or whatever. And you know, I mean, I'm a barber, you know what I mean? I like to cut hair short on the sides, you know, I leave it long time. But you know, you gotta let us know. But yeah, so you know, it was funny, you know, and I knew that I'd recognized him before, you know, and I see him around town, he says what's up, you know, I mean, there's no hard feelings, you know what I mean? I don't care, you know. But hey, all right, well, this is the fucking longest video. Take it easy, everybody. Peace.